Gavidl, you didn't give me hot water. Hot water. With that Epsai Shtikla Aveva. Oh, we're here. Oh, Chaim's back. You don't have a new background. You're still in the Bahamas. Between some alley in London and Kingston for the Jamaica. To make some yeshivish backgrounds. Oh, Arya Steiber's not here today. And Aaron is here. Aaron, stay healthy. It's dangerous there. I'm not joking. Don't go out of the house. I think I'm joking. Okay. Good. Okay, so I want to first today I want to learn those Rishonim that we spoke about, and I'd like to bring one sheet that I found the first Rishonim with a name, which takes a different shot in the Gemara and this. Not like we learned Mamish the way I was trying to constantly to walk away from. So I finally found a name. Okay, he's a Talmud Aravid. He's brought down the Chedusha Ritva Lemem Gimel Amid Beis and Kedushin, the other Amid of that Ritva that we saw. What's his name? He's the brother of the Orchis Chaim. The Orchis Chaim is Reb Osher Milunil. This is Reb Osher Milunil. The Orchis Chaim is Reb Aaron Milunil. This is the Reb Osher Milunil. So I want you to know. Okay, yeah. Osher Bar Meshula Milunil. So Ditake says that we have to not break our backs. Do you remember Shavuos Ha'edus? So, you remember the first Rashi in Shavuos Ha'edus? Not offhand. The Gemara says, the guy says, any your day. So the Ran says, if you could scratch your head and remembered it, you still remembered it. You mean to say you could scratch your head, you won't remember? You'd have to see it. No, so that means you can't be made from it, right? The Gemara says, if an aid only remembers because he sees, it's called mipiksava. What? Not if you, will you remember the Maisa? That's going to scratch your head. This is Reim Techek Sapa, Kids Apostle, that's called Eni Yodea. If you say Eni Yodea, you won't be a liar and you won't have to be in Korban Shavuos Ha'edus, right? Very good. So you learned something. Right. But yeah, I'm telling you, you have to, your Talmud is supposed to teach you your language, right? Right? Remember that. Very important. Okay, so let's go and have a little party is what we did do over here. We learned, okay, I'm going to say very nice. I think it's the truth, but that the idea behind this whole thing is, as we mentioned, is that there's a halacha of we need Vahu Eid from the very beginning. You need a Teres Eidus from the Riyah and the Chiddishes. You need to the Riyah and by the Agot. That's the Maisa what we learned in the Brises. What would that be the din lamashal by a cotton, or something like that? What happens if a cotton or a baldin? Let's do that. Okay, two possibilities: a cotton or a baldin. So let's talk about the cotton. What happens if a guy there was a cotton and then he saw things and he became a gadol? Is a cotton an aid puzzle? Or is a cotton not an aid? That's how we start. Nimsa echad me eidim cotton, as we say, kol eidus betela. There's your acid test. Okay. What's the din? Nimsa echad me eidim cotton, or isha, or goy. Okay. Or my horse. It's called Mr. Ed, the horse that talks. Ich weiß was, an old television program in the 60s. Ich weiß, or something like that. You know, what's the din? Caligula's horse. He was a senator. He knew how to say something just like all the other senators. You know, they made the same noises. Okay, was it sein the din? Once again, nimtza echem naedim, my pet dog. Sicher puzzle, ladies. They can't shred. No, you can't. Okay, what the halacha? My pet dog is he? What happens if I have my pet dog next to me when I see in a bed? Am I puzzled now because my dog can't be made edim? No, you're gonna say no, of course not. What about the local fly which is next to you? You also see things. Flies puzzle ladies, right? It says isha isha. I know women. That's under shnei anoshim. No, flies aren't anoshim. How do you know? So what are you going to tell me? Somebody going to tell me something. Somebody tells, that's not the apostle. The tourist, the parish of Edis was not written on these people. Okay, maybe flies and that didn't receive the Torah, dogs and horses didn't receive the Torah. So obviously the Torah is not talking about them. We're not even addressing them. Are you going to say anything about Goyim? Maybe. Maybe you can do that. What about Ktanim? Was the Torah given to Ktanim? Yes. How do you know Ktanim are apostle? It's a mute. How do you know Viber? Women. Anoshim v'lo noshim. Okay. So then I'm going to ask the question again. So what's done by a cotton and by an isha? Cotton or isha? Or not? What do you think? Isn't them louder? You think louder? Same thing, right? So that was that. So it depends which drush how they go together. They that you have the Yerushalmi within here in this country. Were you there then? I don't remember. Okay, did you say this with me? So yeah, about that Yerushalmi that goes back and forth. Okay, so Lamaisa, what's going to be the din? So the Lamaisa is a dvarma for Rosh. How does it start? There's a very nice. Did I bring my tumim? I sent you the tumim. I sent you a tumim. What was the question? A minute. Can you ask me a question at 5:48? Of course, I was there. Oh, I didn't see. I'm sorry. I hate to say it, but I sometimes put this phone on silent. I don't even want to learn sometimes. So, you know, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Very sorry. Am I supposed to care? It says I'm live. Am I video off? Hi, guys. Do you hear me?
No, Rebbe's video. The video. You can't see everything.
You can't see me. Oh. You have to see me. Oh, Nakama. Yeah, very good. Soft, I'm a black box with white words. I'm sorry. Oh, your video is also off. KBY 7. They don't want to see your face. Okay, you got a good smile. You should work for Crest Toothpaste. You do the advertisement. Okay, anyway. I feel very bad. You're my chumni. You ask me later, send me an email or something. Yeah, I feel no namely. Okay, I sent something. When did I send this? At 5:31, which means at 5:48. What was I doing? 5:48. I was sitting at my desk. Oh, I'm sorry. Because at 5:31 I sent this to you. So look, let's just read this for a moment. Okay, yeah, I showed you a few things here. First of all, the first piece is a piece of the Tumim Siman Lamed Vav. That's the Siman on Nimtzech V'Nedim Karav Apostle. So it says over here like this. He brings the sheet to arrive. Let's read it carefully. In the second line, Vade Zulus Divi arrived. The Xeris Akosib Makai Medavar the Oisim To'eva Eina Begeder Azeh Lifsol B'Tziruv Shalahem Edim Achem. Heim shemidim al atzmei ve'en al acherim va'af im u kosher yochol la'id mikon kon bepasle eina mevatle edim acherim v'kach gzeres akasa b'chlal aber lefi das harayva diaf mized the baldin eina begeder edus l'kach amin b'mekai medavar the baldin eina begeder edus chlal l'kach imed al atzmei v'chaverei amrinan l'gabe atzmei lo have edus the baldin l'gabe chaverei Have Edus, right? That's the famous river that you know. Actually, the river is found in Babasra Daf Mem Gimel, in the Shittim Kubetzis. If you really want to know, that's talking about the sugi of Tchilas and Sefer V'Kashrus. There's the Shittim Kubetzis which brings private stomach. You should have seen it by now. Okay, so he says here that a Baldin is not an aid at all. It doesn't give the mucker why it's not an aid. The makkah would be out there what the Rimigash says. The Rimigash says, what's the psul of a baldin? Says because the pasuk says Vam Dishnei Anoshim, and means you need two witnesses except for yourself. But you can't be made on yourself. You need two witnesses except for yourself. And the baldin is being made on himself. You can't be made on yourself. That's the Rimigash. You have these sheets that I sent you back before, and there was the Rimigash in it. Okay, you don't have it. You don't have it. I'm going to just read that to you. You should know it. Okay, that's the Rimigash, where the Rimigash writes this explicitly. Let's find it here. Migash says, why is that Baldin Pasul? He says, Tavade lemasid inish the nafshe, veleka leishem ed klal do al pishnaim edim yokum dover amar achmana. Alma inish the gabi nafsho leka leishem ed klal. Why? The Torah says other people have to the witness. Doesn't say you. Shnaim edim yokum dover doesn't say you're part of it. Why don't we say al pi apoyel void erechot? The text is who does the mice is not that the pasuk says no, you're not included. We're not calling you're not the people that we call Shnei Edom. We don't consider you're not a Shnei Edom now. What does that mean? We'll see what the Migash does it. This is the Ravid says this is the where it's coming from. The Ravid himself says the dogma where he learns this from. Ravid says he learns from the Gemara in Makis Davav. The Gemara says in Davav Elamiata, if you know Nimtzech and Edom Karv Apostle, that the Hayreg, the person that kills someone, is also an Eid Apostle, and he should be a apostle. The Edom which see it should be Nimtzech and Edom Karv Apostle, or the Haruk. The Haruk, if he saw who killed him, so he's an Eid Apostle. Okay. It's okay, it's about yourself. And Ramelin, the Gemara answers the Mekaime Davar, it says Api Shnaim or Shloisha Edim Yakum Davar, and that passage is how do we learn the din of Nimtzeh Echman Edim Karvu Pasuk? It says Api Shnaim or Shloisha Edim. Why do you say Shnaim or Shloisha? Say Shnaim. Once you say Shnaim, it's Shloisha Arba Chamisha Shisha Shmaina. What's the big deal? The Gemara learns from there, the Mishnah is from there. Ma Shnaim. If one of the Edim is puzzle, it's meaningless. Because you need two. Shloisha, if one of the Edom is puzzle, it's also meaningless. The rotten apple spoils the barrel. It's as simple as that. Okay? That's the Gemara. So on that, we have a halacha b'mekayme davar, api shnayim or shloisha Edom yakum davar. Who is, that's the marker of the din of Karv apostles, everybody, and says what's this is yakum davar, b'mekayme davar hakosov medaber. Now here there's a machlekes. Rashi learns b'mekayme davar apasik medaber means to say mekayme davar v'loy oisei hadavar. Okay, mekayme davar, the substantiators of the event, but not those who create or do the event. Now Rashi says, and therefore, since this pasuk is the source of the din of nimtza echad min ha'edim karv u'pasol, everything becomes pasol. Therefore, that pasuk is only to people which are mekayim davar, substantiating events, but not active participants of the event. He doesn't say he's not an aid. He says, as far as this specific halacha of nimtza echem ne'edim karvu pasuk kol is betela, there's a limitation. The people that are active in the event are not even though they're pasuk and they may be called aidim psulim, but they don't passel the other people. The only people who passel the other people are Eidim Psulim, which are not actors in the event. You look carefully at the Lashon of Rashi and Marcus, that's what seems to be saying. Because he specifically doesn't just say, hey, Mikhaim Edover, and if not, you're not an aid. No, he doesn't say that. What does he say? He says, see, Bahai Krusha, also Lakulam Kishnayim, the three is like two. Why did he add those words? He should have said, "Ksiv by Krug." Yeah, I think that we know there's a din of Eidim. It's Oisei Dover, not Mekayim Dover. Why do we have to say, well, High Krusha, also Kulan equals 3 or 4 as if they were 2? It's just like 2. If one of them is puzzled and everything goes out, 2 or 3 or 4, the same thing. So what he's saying, this is a limitation in that specific derivative from the pasuk of Nimtza Echem Ne'edim Karvel Pasuk Kol Eidus B'Teila. That's Shittas Rashi. The Ravid disagrees. The Ravid disagrees. This is the Ravid. It's, I thought again, it's the Shittum Kubetis in Bobaso Chav Gimel. The Rush elaborates on it at the end of the first parak of Makkas, a long Rush. He learns this more differently. He understands that Mekayim Dover is not just discussing a limitation within the law of Nimtza Echem Ne'edim Karvu Pasuk Kol Eidus B'Teila like Shittas Rashi. No, it's an overall definition of what is an aid, what is not an aid. You're not an aid. We can't make you an aid. You're not an aid. You're not a rotten apple disposed in the barrel. You're not a rotten apple. You're a banana. And you're not rotten. You're just not an apple. I need you to be an apple to be an aid. You're not an apple. You're a banana. You're not puzzle. You're not a deficient witness. You're not a witness. You're a horse. You're a cow. I don't know what you are. You're not a witness. Because litigants equals the Oisei Dover, the actors of the event. They're not witnesses. They witnesses someone outside of them. That's how he understands. The Rav understands that Gemara. And it's a machlekes. I just told you Rashi and the Rav. I want you to know that. It reflects itself very heavily in the Gemara and Daf Yudam and Aleph and Sanhedrin. One day you'll learn it. You'll learn the Chedushei Ran. You'll see exactly how the Ran learns the Gemara according to the Ravid, according to the Ravid, and you see what Rashi does, something else. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Okay, so the Ravid differentiates between a Baal Din, which is not an aid, and a Makayim Dover versus, so to speak, someone else, which is puzzle, a Korav, a thief. These are called psulim. Okay, there we say nimtza echem edum korav puzzle kol edus betela. Okay, this should be very clear. So that the machlek is going back to here. So what he writes here, he says, but why taka can't the person? He says something else. He says, why can't a Baal Din say edus on himself? Not from the words Makayim Dover. That's not what he mentions here. Doesn't bring that raya. So we don't know that same lump, this is the Ravid. He just says, because there's a pasuk, Al Pi Shnayim Eidim, except for him. That means you're not the guy that can say testimony. Here we don't know whether does it mean he's an aid puzzle, or does it mean he's not an aid at all? What does he mean here? We're going to have to go back and visit him again. But then at this point, he doesn't use the cover of the... Now, the shaila is, what do you do with a, well, here the Tumim brings this Ravid. So let's see again, I'm going to read this Ravid again in the first piece of the Tumim, where he brings the Tumim again. We're looking at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th line in the Tumim, the first piece that I sent you. The Baal Din ain't a begetter edus. Why? Because it says Mekayim Edav, Oisei, Mekayim Dav, Yakum Davar, Mekayim Edavar, Beloiba Oisei Davar. So we say ain't a begetter edus. Lakach Amrina b'Mekayim Edavar, the Baal Din ain't a begetter edus klal, but lachen imeid al atzmo v'chaviro, Amrina legabe atzmo love edus, to have a Baal Din legabe chaviro have edus. Ushma minei the Mekayim Edavar lo yikoy al chaviro akushenot tzedbem kayim. Then he writes, I want to read it. The Rivash in Kuftan Hay. We asked the Gemara in Makas Davav Amadalef, the Horug, the person which was accosted, which was slaughtered, he's still alive. He still can say Hades if he's not a treifa. Okay? That goes in another quotation. But Horug, if he's not a treifa yet, Horug Yatsul, because he's 8 paso. So the Rivash also says Pshat. Rivash is, is Talmud Aran. Kloimar, but Oisan, Shefshar, Liot Edim, very nice Agdora. Im Heim Psulim, Heim Paistim Achem B'tzirufo. If you could be an aid, it's just your apostle, then you pass other Edim if you join with them. Okay, B'tzirufo. Ava Baldin Atzmo, Lochal Alav Shum Edut Klal. Today, שיצטרף אחרים ולפוסטם בצירופו. וכל שיש עדות שלם בלעדיו, and if there's a good quorum of Adam, 2 people without him, you don't need him, oisim al piem, there you have it mefurish. So his mamish is learning das arriving. Look at the Nesivus, the next piece, it's underlined in ois yud, same lamed vav in ois yud aleph there. So I underlined that. He brings the Tumim and he writes, Nira Borer, the Im Hoya Isha B'Maimed Aedus, Afapi Shikivna Lahoid, with then, an 8 puzzle, which is Mechavan Lahoid, puzzles everybody else. Kivna Lahoid, Mikam Makam, Eina Begeder Karve puzzle. Excuse me. This is still a tumim. This is still a tumim. This is a tumim. This is tumim over there in Lamed Vav Sif Yud Aleph. Eina begeder kara pasuk the year kala edus betela. The eina begeder edus klal. So you say not just about din, also an isha. V'chein ikshu migitin v'kidushim mikrayvim sheyesh shama b'ma'amad. All the Rishonim talk about Gittin Kedushim with Krivim. What about the women that are there? No one asks about the women. They all asked about the Krivim. And he says a raya. He says, well, the Gemara says Nirva Yatsu. Why does the Gemara say by Bila say Shazish? It's a nice raya. I gotta be honest truth. It's a shame the raya. Punky decide to talk about Nirva, Revea, whatever, violation ish, Erva. She's an Eid puzzle, she's an Isha. So the Tumim, no. He says, Rashi Iksha Nirva Yatzel, Vai Betoisis B'Techukim, what's the shot? Why is he Yatzel? Because Sinai, or he's a Korev, or he hates him. That's what Toisis, what's the problem? Why can't the Nirva say Eidus? Because he probably hates him. And if it was Sinai, so Pshat is he's made al Atzmi, he's a Korev, it's Atzmi. Why did you say, Lo Iksha B'Pshuto, Eshes Ish, Bechenik, Bechen Kol HaRayis, have a matzah l'memelei, Hariesh Kan Isha. ונשם פסולת העדוס. ועל זה, מה משלשייך מאחורי ומשכבי איש הכסיב, the Gemara said it doesn't matter. Kids, this is a better question, which we don't need the daichiks of Taisvus. Why did we say that a Nirva is puzzle? The Shailin Taisvus. Taisvus doesn't say Baldin. Taisvus says over there. By Harug, he says Baldin. By Nirva, he says Saina. Look at Taisvus there in Makas Davav. By Harug, he says Baldin. I mentioned this once in the shir. By Nirva, he says Saina. We discussed this. I bought okay, but what do you need all this for? Talk about regular rayas, all parshas rayas. Anisha is possible. You can create a Saina if he's not a Saina. Okay, so he says, why do we say that? And the answer is simple. Elavade the nashim ena begeda edus klal. V'lei shayach lemer nimtza karva pasul the eno begeda. V'ay mashakasav la'el b'diva rivash be'inan ro'oy lo'hay drak machas pasus nifsel. That's the tumim in Simon Lamedvav Ois Yud Yud Aleph. On that, in Simon Lamedvav, there's a Nasivis. Let me see if I have it here. Yeah, here it is. Very good. In Ois Yud, if you go down, there's two widened out lines, underlined pieces. V'nem alem she'ikir ayin b'tumim shechilek the kurvas ha'edim. Aminim b'stama yodu ma'kurva v'echad shekov l'lev aminim b'stama lo yodu v'ayitev v'oid kotza isha kiva de'ena ruya l'hayid lai mechshiv karev oy pasu v'on is bat ledusa b'shvula ava p'sul d'rabanim about leidus umidvar yesh lilmoid zok the Nesivis is going to extrapolate. Once you say isha, he says midvar yesh lilmoid the hu adin ovik yochav mazolis v'kotten. What's enough kamina? The same Ish and Isha, Kattans learned from Isha, and they learned one from the other. And Nashim, Lo Nashim, and Stanim, Bechulu, the whole Yaputs are there. And the guys that never push it. The Gemara learned because it's not Bechal Checha, it's not Bechal the mitzvahs. That's a Gemara makes a Yafusa. Who had in Akam Agoy, Enem Abatlan Edis Aksherim. This is the Nesiva. So we have basically a interesting Hanacha here, all based on the Svar of the Ravid, which we know that Rashi does not agree to. Okay? Based on the Svar of the Ravid and the way the Rivash took it as a given, the Nimsa Echon Edim Balidin or Cotton or Isha or Guy, we don't say Nimsa Echon Edim Karvu Pasal Kol Edus Batel. This is the Anach. What I need from this, it comes out like this: that there's no now. Is it, in other words, a Katan? Is he an Eid Pasal? No. Is he an Eid at all? No. Now, what would be the din according to that? If a Katan, if a Katan saw something when he was small, can he say Eidus when he's older? So if the idea is he puzzle, if we're going with this thinking of the Ravid at the moment, the Rivash, the Ravid, finally the Tumim and the Nesivis, well, the Katan's not made puzzle. It's just nothing. So if you're going to ask, was he puzzle b'shas riyah? No, he was not puzzle b'shas riyah. And since he's kosher b'shas agada, what would you paskin? Well, based on how we understood the Gemara in Erchin and the Barabasra, it doesn't matter. I don't need you to eat puzzle. I need you to be an aid. You're not an aid. The void of you not being an aid b'shas riyah is enough. The mele, your riyah is not a riyah shel aidus. For a mele, the din is we have to have riyah shel aidus and agada shel aidus. Is oy roa of imla yagid, the riyah v'agada talia milsa, and that should be the halacha. And that should be the halacha. One little problem, there's a Mishnah that says the opposite. Where's the Mishnah? The Mishnah is in Ksubis, end of the second period. Look, Mishnah in Ksubis, Elu ne'emanim lohayid begoydlan, mashiroi begoydlan. There are people that are believed to say Edis when they're mature, what they saw when they were. So I'm just need a Ritva Ksubas. Who's going to help me? Maybe a moment. I didn't photostat it. I need a Ritva Ksubas. You know what? Don't. You'll trust me. It won't hurt. Hope you trust me. It shouldn't trust me, but it doesn't matter. We'll take one. You go to the Kaila, you might go. So what steht da? Elen der Mann Leute begonnen mal schon bekeiten. Nimm Adam Lemer 6 Jahre aber 6 Jahre Rebbe. Darf gemide für Kiem Stores. That's Drabon. Okay, 6 Haisi be Zach Haisi be plan she yotze be Numa of Rosh Parua. It's a Ksubis Pesula, not a Ksubis Beula. It's because Rosh Parua, if she didn't have her, she had her hair unbraided. If she had her hair unbraided by the chuppah, okay, she already was after this, her hair was unbraided. And she also did not have an enuma. You know what an enuma is? Rashi says, it's funny, what people do today, but if they learn Gemara, maybe they do differently. I don't tell you what to do at your weddings. Enuma is the veil, right? Why is it called enuma? V'shteit in Rashi, it's so thick that she can't see anything, so she simply drowses. She's bored. Does it, you want to know, in other words, I don't know about these enumas today where that's a raya, she's a psula or not. That's not the raya of the Gemara. It's not a raya because they all wear white. Okay? Okay, but I'm telling you, that you want to do a minik chazal is enuma, it's sheminamnemes. Like you ever see these Hasidic weddings where she looks like a chontov on Shabbos with atmana? Did you ever see it? It looks like atmana, mamish on Shabbos. Okay, and Hanami, then you have to pick the thing up that the Adam should see who it is, because maybe it's the mother-in-law. How do you know? You wouldn't know. So that you have to pick it up. You have to pick it up. Hi, by those weddings, you have to pick it up. I don't know what it's doing there, Bichlal, with this veil. I don't know what is it exactly. What is it? What's for? It's like, femme fatale. She have a black veil. Okay, we have a song for her, the lady in the black veil. Okay, John Baez. Okay, so you should. So the chayra was happened us. So what's it us? So you saw is that the right so derabana? If you pass ksuva derabana, machlekes remeir chachamim. I don't know if you ever learned that. Okay, machlekes remeir chachamim. You learned that? In your course of Talmud Bavli, did you ever come up to that argument with the ksubas derayso derabana? So machlekes remeir chachamim. Okay, so that's right to Rabban. So far, so good. If she had Rosh Parua, so she was a Basula. Because if she was a Baula, she wouldn't have Rosh Parua. Ashvach Haraya Bisman Hazeh. But as I come to this, Rosh Parua is a koch. She's not a Baula, and she's not, and she's Parua means not Kalua. Okay. V'shoya ish plenty yitzim beis hasefer litva v'lechel truma. So we see l'chayra that he was a kayan. Okay, could be the Trumas Manzas Drabanan. We're doing well. V'shoya chaylik imanu ala gairin vayter Drabanan and Bisman Nazeh Bisman the Mishnah could be. V'amok mazeh beis hapras. What's beis hapras? Beis hapras is a soda should never be kever. Vayter. It was nechrash. It's only exered Drabanan. V'ad kan ayim boim b'Shabbos. Oichet tzventzuk tchumim. Machlekes Rebbe Kiva Rabban. Vayter Drabanan. This is very good. Aber ein oder nemer leimer der chayel lepleni b'makom hazeh. Yeah, that's the Shana Deraisa. It's called Gelt. Gelt is Deraisa. Maimedu misped chayel lepleni b'makom hazeh means to say, therefore, he had used it, but the Gemara explains what that means. Makom hayel lekan lahasud meisav shemalichim b'zekvar shaloi lasim amaz meshav v'shoyis and shiva l'meis. He had karka. He had a place. That's a Gelt. That Gelt is Deraisa. He's not believed. This is the Gemara. So we see l'chayra, at least by Edis Rabbanan, these belief said something was a cotton. So the Ritva asked the question. Thank you, Ritva. Here we are. Afagavdil Edis Godel Be'ina. We need a Godel for Edis. Why would you say that a cotton is an aid? Shasriya, you need Edis of a Godel. Kidavsi Vam Dushnei Anoshim. Ube'edim HaKosev V'daber. That's the Gemara and Shvuos that we don't say it's not the Machlekes. Rebudin Rabban is it Balei Din HaKosev V'daber or Be'edim HaKosev V'daber? So the Lashon of the Ritva is Ube'edim akas the shnei anashim is the edim. That's it. Ube'ina nami shnei tchilasei v'seifer bekashrus. So l'chayra, the rear was not bekashrus. Kid'isa peg mishameis u'sechtes gitten. Why is it mishameis, not yishnoichlin? Why did they say that? Oh, so they talk it right. They say it's a mistake. It probably said yud nun. I don't know how they got that. Mishameis is not the writ for blue. I don't know. B'dvarim elu shemishnatenu hikelu. Afal pi shetchilas no'ayeh b'pastas mitan nefurish b'gemara. Doch mefurish in the writ. The meikar adin, if you're a cotton lechatchila, that we now know a cotton is not an aid puzzle. It's just an anti-aid. Afal pi came. There's a concern of tchilas. If we follow the same, this is the same thing now. There's not shot. You're not an puzzle. You're not an eight, and that's also no good. I need a terrorist eight for things. That's the way what it says. But nishkin davar pashtu b'chlal. Why nishkin davar pashut? Because there's a Gemara in Kiddushin. Yeah. Here's the Gemara. It says in Kiddushin. I'm not saying, I'm just pointing out. I couldn't care less. He definitely holds that he cut on. The Rav doesn't say cut. The Tumah says it's Rav Shuta. Oh, whether he holds bichlal like the Rav, I can't say at the moment. We'll see soon when we go to the Rit for Nachman Gimel. We'll see what he says. Then you'll see. Relax. Okay. Now you have to go back to the Rit from Bobasra and the Rit from Kiddushin. Yeah, we'll get there. Okay. Now we go to the Gemara in Daf Mem Gimel. This is the Gemara which has a question which many times we've learned. Can a shaliach be an aid? We just learned this. We mentioned this Gemara 2 days ago. Can a shaliach be an aid? I'm honest. Someone the shaliach. Can you be an aid or not be an aid? There's something in the Gemara. What's the suffix in the Gemara? Why yes and why no? So the Gemara says, "Ein shliach nasa aid." The Amar Mar shlucha she'adam kemoisai havalei kigufe. Okay, so how would you understand that? Let's take it even before. Ela Rav Amar shliach nasa aid. Why shliach nasa aid? So the Gemara says a svara. Alume komalimna lemilse. What does that mean? Alume almua lemilse. The edus kisha osa adavar adei shaliach. What? It's even stronger because I'm the guy that did it. I'm not just saw it. I did it. That's a better edus. The fact that you're doing something is not extraordinary an edus. It's a better to be an edus. The very mud in the Lashon, if you understood Mekayim Davar like the Ravid, this won't work too well. So it's very clear this is Rashi, the Shitasi that explains that way, because Rashi learned that only a Chesron named Secretary of a puzzle called Betela. How the Ravid learned this Gemara, I do not know. Okay, well, you could learn Pshat. I'm not the Baldin. I'm actually only just doing it. As far as me doing things, the act that I'm active alone, that makes a better edus. There's another chisaron because you are a baldin, you're a litigant, We're either talking about you or what you did or what happened to you. We learned that what's in a Yerushalmi. That is what makes you into a baldin. So the question is not, but you are active, but since your action is not for yourself, so you're representing somebody else. So we talk about there's two aspects to you. Are you the active party? Yes. Are you the party which creates the is the halachic nafkamina or agdor what's happening related to you? No. You're a monkey. You're doing a meister cup for someone else. Good, but I'm a monkey they can say haters. So I'm the perfect reality. I'm the active, I'm the best aid possible. I don't have the concern of I say davar here obviously does not mean the act. It means to say the person for the which gives the halachic definition or is done for. That's how we have to understand that. But over here, so this is Rav Shita. Now that Mishtandra Shayla Amar Ein Shliach Nasei. Why? Kivan the Amar Mar Shluchosh Adam Kimoso Havalei Hufei. What does he say? Now let's understand what happened here. When's he saying Ada? So here it really depends. if you, as far as Ede Birur, are we talking about Ede Kiyum or Ede Birur? Let's start carefully. If we're talking Ede Kiyum, when does he have to be the aid? B'shas, Mesiris, Abtabas. B'shas, Mesiris, Haget. As far as the Shas, Mesiris, Haget, at that point in time, he sees him at this stage of the game embodying the identity of, as much as you are the Megaresh, because we need Nasim Yad Liyad, you are perceived as the Megaresh, which is giving the get. So he doesn't think it's just that I'm doing my mice and it works for John. No, you are, as far as that's concerned, perceived as embodying the identity of the person. You are me for this action. Well, if that's the case, B'shas mice, as much as you are a Makadish, you can't be the eight. I will let's put it to Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You're me as far as the mice, but you're not me as far as the eight is on the mice. I'm not going there. We don't pass this way anyway. Allah, I'm not getting nervous about it. But this is what he believes. He believes shliach nasa eid. Shliach ein nasa eid. Why? Because it's called kigufoy. What does it mean? Doesn't mean he scratches his head. The other guys, the dandruff won't itch. I just want to put. What does it mean? It simply means because legally you are perceived the embodiment of this person. Where do I know this from? I know this from a Chuvas Rif. The Avnulun brings the Chuvas Rif that even if la halacha we paskin that shliach nasa eid, and we don't say this svara, that's only by a shliach le'elacha. But by a shliach le'kabbalah, then everyone will agree ain't shliach nasa eid. Why? Because in shliach le'elacha, into making a ma'aseh, you can say I am embodying you for the action, or I am I'm representing you for the action. There are two different ideas, because you're a shaliach to do something, so you could be representing, like a notary for someone else, or you could be the embodiment of. These are two possibilities. What does it mean? But when it comes, for goodness sakes, to shliach le-kabbalah, you don't have to do anything. You're only supposed to be there instead of me. So the shlich is there as embodiment of. I have to put in the hand of the Isha. She doesn't do anything. She doesn't create a chalais. She doesn't do anything. She doesn't define. She does nothing. She's totally passive by Gittin. She just be awake, as they state. She has to be awake and be aware. That's all. Okay? Balmor says that's their rights. It's the beginning of a Zori. Okay? But that's it. She doesn't do anything. She doesn't contribute anything to the Gerushin, except for being there. Okay? So then what's Shliach LeKabbalah? I am being there for you. Equals I'm the you which is there. Okay, that's called the shliach lekabbalah. Not the chuvah of Avnulun, the chuvah sarif. Shliach lekabbalah lekula alma ain't shliach naseid. Only in shliach halacha there's a suffix. Obviously, he understands the suffix is what is the getter of shliach halacha. But by shliach this is a rif. Nice man. Okay, is the oilam say other svaralachans? Yes, but the chuvah sarif is the primary. Okay, so the chuvah sarif. So this is the how we understand. This is the machlekes adkan. So let's understand carefully. According to the Manda Omar, shliach loy nasa eid. Let's talk about this carefully. When we're talking about it at Eidikiyum, it's a repashet. You're me. You can't be an aid, and you're the baldin at the moment. Okay, you're the baldin. We're talking about you. You are me. I vicariously live through you. I was Makash Isha vicariously through you, and me are one reality. No, that's the case. You can't be an Eid Q. What about Eid Birur? What would it then be? L'chayra, I was you only b'shas ma'is. I'm not you anymore. Again, I finished. Shlichus is over. The ring's on the bottom. There's nothing there anymore. So this is typically a case that I was a baldin b'shas ma'is, and I wasn't a baldin after. Without it, didn't have siluk. This is a classical case. We say stum of the mills of shliach nasa eid v'loy nasa eid. The Gemara doesn't differentiate between shlichus eid kiyum and eid birur. Doesn't mention that Allah Chadafka didn't have eid kiyum and eid birur. The Gemara says stam shaila. The Gemara says shaila. Here it is. Shliach nasa eid bei sheila amr ein shliach nasa eid. Period. Doesn't mention Dafka Eid Kiyum Eid Birur. You can say what you want to the stum of the Gemara, and if there'd be a difference, we'd have what to say. So you can ask me in stum of the Gemara, L'char state that both this is Dafka for Eid Kiyum and Eid Birur, and in both instances we would say that L'char that the guy holds shliach loy nasa eid, that means even afterwards. I l'chara, you were nothing more than a baldin in the beginning. That's your psul because you're a baldin. So why won't it work? Because you're not an aid. You have to have a terrorist aid b'shas riyah, and you don't have it. That's l'chara what it says. So the Gemara says in Amid Beis, the hilchas the shliach naseid. Good, we're good on that. So that's not a problem. Amar Rav Blachman, Amar l'shneim tzuvi katruisa isha heinem shluchav heinem edav. That's how we pass in halacha. V'chein begershin. Then he adds one more line, which is our headache. V'chein b'dinei nefashos. B'dinei mamanis. In dinei mamanis, we say the same halacha. You know, this is not Eidi Kiyum, this is Eidi Birer. We say the din is a shliach naseid. Utzricha. Why do we have to take also what's dinei mamanis? A drashim shalach chayv lamal v'ayidei shnayim. He paid a debt with two shluchim. Can they also be the Eidim on the Piran? It's a very simple question. Can they be the Eidim on the Piran? Diash meaning so that's Dushim Mishum to the Misr cost. You have a Gershon, Nekashim, and Eidim Osabat. These all exist. Finally, the Gemara says, my Kisava, Ikasava Malva Chaver Be'edim Tzor Lepara Be'edim. If the din is that Malva Chaver Be'edim, Tzor Lepara Be'edim, okay, you have to take a pay with Eidim. Hane Noigim Be'edis Ninu. If that's the case, these Eidim Negeh Be'edis. Why? Because if they didn't pay, then they have to give the money back. If they did Negeh Be'edis Ninu, Ikasav Amalva Chvitzor Lepar Be'edim Ve'inem and Lema Parati, Hechem Emna Lema Natanu Lemalva Hare Noigim Be'edis. Why? D'Eloi She'im Lo Yomru. If they don't say that we paid, Anu She'im Lo Yomru Me'idim Anu She'kiblam Amalva Omelem Aleva Paruni Mashem Asarti Lechem. Sometimes he gave them the Piran Be'edim to pay it back. So obviously they're going to say, so why do they believe? They're in Negeh B'davar. That's what the Gemara Kasha. The Gemara Ikis have a Mavachaver Be'im Tzal Parbeid Han Negeh Be'edis Ninu. Di Amarle Parani Amarle Paruni. El Adam Ksav Mavachaver Be'edim Ain't Tzal Parbeid. Umigo the Yachal Amema Adrina Lalaiva. Just they could have been believed to say, yeah, we gave you back the money. But equals it not Negeh B'davar, because whatever they'll say, they're off the hook. This is the Gemara. And the Gemara adds one little point. There's a famous thing called Shvuas Hesses. Shvuas Hesses means if someone tightens you a tightness bori, and you pay for a coil, I say, you owe me money. You say, you take a walk. The din is Midrabana, you have to swear Shvuas Hesses. There's no such shvuda, right? It says the shvuah and if there's the Shvuas Hesses. Why? Because we figure Einam Tavei Limken Yashlai. It's the Gemara. Well, it says, therefore, that chazak is enough, at least midrabanan, to be mechayiv b'shvuas hesses. Hasha taking money shvuas hesses. If that's the case, these eidim are in a b'davar because they have to swear. They can't just say natati lecha, natati lecha, makasha lo natati. You'd have to swear. So why you believe to say parati lecha? You have a negia because you want to get off the shvua. So the word said, "Echanami, what the halacha?" Mishtaba hana eden diavinale, umishtaba malva le shakale, upar le level malva. So everybody has to swear. Okay, and then the yellow par level malva. That's the halacha. That's the Gemara. Zok the Ritva. Here, Mem Gimel Amud Beis. This is page Tafrem Chesed Moshe Rav Kook. It's on Mem Gimel Amud Beis. Divrei Amasav V'Hashta Tikkun Rabbanan Shvuas Hesses. Did I send it? I don't think I sent it. I didn't send it. Did I send it? Maybe I sent it. Did I send it? No, I didn't send it. I'm going to send it right now. Yeah. No, this the Gary from down. Let's do this right. No. What am I doing there? Go back. Certificate doesn't do what you want it to do. No, no, no. No. No, she did. No. I do some best most people it's garbage off things ask me if I have problems right back. No. I'm doing this for you and look what's happening to me. I'm like an idiot. Oh, there we have it. Good, thank God. Now I have to. I learned a word in this machine. It's called crop. What crop is? It's nicht very good, but it's enough. Okay, we send it. Share. WhatsApp. Where's this thing? Share. Next. Chaim Shulam. Good. So to it for Vika the Kashalet. Keeping the Ani Aiden Lemivsel Mishum Nagias Aidus. Why do you want to make these Aiden puzzles? Because they have a Nagia. You want to say, listen, it's a problem here. They have a Nagia. Except for the boy Lemifra Leiva, because if they didn't pay to the Malva, they're going to have to pay to the Leiva because he gave them money and they're going to have to give it back and they're not believed. Okay, and therefore, because if you gave them an Adim, they have to have Adim on that. They don't have it, they're not believed. So they'd rather say they gave the money of the labor to the Malva than to say they gave it back. Or they're going to have to swear to him, like even after Shvus Hesses, you're going to end up swearing to him. What's the problem? Let the Malva say, I'm a vater on you paying back the money to me. I'm a vater on the Shrua, and now they're kosher aided to say that he was that they paid the Malva, that they paid the money to the Malva. What happens if here? The Leiva wants to make Leiva sent them with a loan of $1,000 to pay to the Malva. Okay. Now the problem is the Adam are apostle. Why? Because they're the Gabadava. Because they have to say they paid to the Malva. If not, the Leiva will command the money from them. What's the problem? You know what the Leiva should do? It says this: I forgo. I waive the claim. I will not claim money from you. Now you owe me nothing. Now tell me, did you pay him or not? They won't be in the Gabadis, and they'll be able to pay. They'll be able to say Adis. That's the Kasha of the Ritva. Ike the Kasha, they keep in the Ani Aiden, the Mifsel, and Mishum the Gias Adis, the Boy, the Mifra, the Leiva, Oilish, Tabualay. Lifterino Leiv, Mimamin Vishua, let him part of them from the claims of Mama from Shua. Vesule Nagibadis, and they won't be in the Gabadis anymore. Lisu v'sadu, and let them go and say Adis. Ukidamin b'abasra gav bnei ha'ir, like Argumar b'abasra b'em gimel. What's the problem? They were in a gaba Adis because there was you had to get it. I'll be batter. Just like the Gemara said, the bnei ha'ir sheyeh sefer Torah. The Gemara says, let them simply walk away from it, and then they'll be able to say Adis. So Einach Hanami, before he was Mavater, they had a chi of Mama and a chi of Shua, and they were in a gaba Adis. Okay, let him walk away. Let them see, they were Balidin in the beginning. Walk away from the program of Balidin. What's them for the Ritva? Nוחlin. The Anon Be'ina Be'edus Tchilasa V'Sefer B'Kashrus. And this is a sugya which goes all over the place, you understand? The Chassav, you think that it's found in the sugya of Shtich Nasa'ed, you know what I mean? That you have the Anon Be'ina Be'edus, I know this from last time because it has red ink. That's it. That's my. You see books with underlined lines and red ink, green ink. That's me. And I'm being Edis Chilasa B'Sefer B'Kashrus. Hilkach Hasam called Kamad Leistika Nafshayu Harehem Kibnei Ha'ir Ubali Dover Ninu V'loi Edim Klal Ukidamina Hasam B'Makos Roy Vayatzil, near Vayatzil, Bim Kaime, Dava Kosamadaber. This smells rich. You ask me, how do I know? We ain't finished yet. This smells right, doesn't it? Right. Umichislikin Nafshayu, and when they walked away, Vahava Edim, Havlet Chilosam, Besaifam, Bekashrus. They were never an aid puzzle. As soon as they became an aid, they were an aid kosher. Beforehand, they weren't aidim to begin with. But when you talking about the malva, they're not bali davar with the malva. They're only negeyas. It's edus l'tevasam as far as the leiva is concerned. Einem bali davar legabe malva. V'hevel noigim bedavar upasli. He makes the differentiation between a bedavar and a baldin. A baldin, the direct litigant, that is something else. You're not innate. Mashenkin and a bedavar, that's not a son of baldin. That's a very big idea, a very important thing. Machliks are showing weiter. Ever nege beidus upasli. V'chipatrino leiva hashta v'izkashra hevet chilosid b'pasas v'sefer b'kashras. Cain, Tiretz, Harav, Reb Osher, Bar Meshulam. Here I have it, okay? That's the Ram Elanil, the brother of the Archus Chaim. Talmud arrived it. You really want to know. Okay, Mechachma Provence, Talmidei arrived it. It's like it fits. Okay, it's this Tyrus arrived it is written over here. Now, does the Ritva himself agree with this? Well, if the Ritva agrees with this, he has to say that a cotton is an 8 puzzle. In that case, Mefurish not like the Nesivus and the Tumah. And there's no difference between a cotton and an Isha and a guy. Efshar a guy is Andish, but the cotton and Isha, they learn from the same thing. It's Kenzine. I'm not saying no, maybe, possibility, interesting. You have to come to a conclusion. If he's in Sechem Eid and cotton or Isha, it's going to be Eidus Psula. That's a Chiddush lo Shamanu, lo Matzanu to la Aloch Lamaisa. What's this? What? Okay, this is the Chayr, something interesting, but this is the Chayr. This would make sense with the Mishnah. Now we'd understand as far as the din of the Midim Bekotna Masharu Begadlu. So you don't have to say because it's din Rabbanah. You can simply say because the cotton is no problem. Okay, here we have it very clear. The din is it's not a din you have to be a Teres Eid B'Shas Riyah. You shouldn't be an Eid Puzzle. Now, this is the first place I have which has a name to it, okay? In all the Rishonim that I've gone through, not through all of them, I think. All the Rishonim, this is the first place I have a name to it. It's the Talmud Arrived. It's the Talmud Arrived. This is what it says over here. Then he says, the Ritz himself says the question doesn't begin because he gives another answer. But he doesn't seem to be arguing in principle with him over here, but there's no riot. He doesn't have to argue in principle. Once he could be because he has the question doesn't start. What do you have to do with your answer at all? Kushimi correlation. Does the Ritva himself hold that? We have to look up the Ritva Mekai Medavar and Makis, which I didn't have a Ritva here to look it up. Anybody have a Ritva Makis in front of you? If you did, look it up above Aleph. See what it says Mekai Medavar. I don't remember that there. Vinishtvi. I repeat again, stomach is that cotton is not an 8 puzzle, it's not an 8 to begin with. And apple pecan, the din of Nimsech Korva, but there's the din of Tchilasa Bekashris, that's Mavur, in the Ritva over there in Ksubas. So the Chayyim says, because you need a Teres Eid, which is the stomach of the Gemara, Erichin, and Bashal, you learned it. For Kert, our question now is the opposite. How does he explain that Gemara? How does this Rishon explain that Gemara in Erichin? This is now a real question. He takes for granted, I don't need, we understood the Gemara in Erichin, it says, Vahu Eid, you have to be an Eid. When do you have to be an Eid? B'Shas Riyah, and you have to be an Eid, B'Shas Haggadah. We thought you have to be an Eid the whole time. No, it's enough to be an Eid, B'Shas Riyah, and B'Shas Haggadah. That's the sum of the Gemara. The Gemara doesn't talk about Psulim there in Erichin, in the Mother Brisa. The Psulim, that's not the drush, it's not the pasuk. The pasuk's not talking about psulim. That's the how you understand. It's a din of who ate, not a din of psulim or not psulim. And he seems to be saying no. The drasha is who ate that you have to be an 8 kosher, and if nafuk an 8 puzzle, and if you're an 8, but if you're a baldin, you're not an 8 kosher. You're not an 8 puzzle. You're nobody. There's no problem with it. He says, when you are an aid, you have to be an 8 kosher. So you have to be an 8. If you're going to be an 8, you have to be an 8 kosher. The drush is saying you can't be an 8 puzzle b'shas riyah. It doesn't say you have to be an 8 b'shas riyah. You have to be an 8 kosher b'shas riyah. Now let's understand the mahalach of the sugi according to this. This is really interesting. According to his reading, the pshat is again. The svarchi China was that what you have to be an 8 kosher b'shas riyah, but not b'shas haggadah. Okay. The chiddush of the Gemara is not why you have to be an 8 kosher also b'shas haggadah. Okay. That's been 8 kosher b'shas haggadah. Not about being a Teres Eid. That's what we're talking about. You don't have to be a Teres Eid b'shas riyah. but you can't be an 8 puzzle. I'm going to say again, you don't have to be an 8 kosher b'shas riyah. You can't be an 8 puzzle b'shas riyah. But we thought you could be an 8 puzzle b'shas agada, and the Kamash will know you can't be an 8 puzzle b'shas agada. Now, at this stage, remember, how does the Gemara understand? The Gemara understands, according to this, we're going to go back to our Brisa. Then we thought that, hey, you can't be an 8 puzzle from beginning to end. It's not because you don't have to be an 8 at all. We don't care if you're not an 8. We don't care if you're not an 8 until the minute of the Agada. But you can't be an 8 puzzle. Now, why God's earth does that have to be? Would that be true also for the interim period? In Surah Chitzayna. Remember, our sugya in Balabasha doesn't deal with the psukim of who ate that drasha, the Amiroim and Erecha. So the question is, Bishlam, if you understand, because you needed Tyrus Aedis connecting the Riyah to the Agada, I understand. But if you say, no, there's no din of Tyrus Aedis, you don't need Tyrus Aedis b'shas Riyah. I just can't have a psul b'shas Riyah. And the Havamina was, if that's the case, I can't have psul even for the point of Riyah until the point. Why not? It's a special halacha in Dinip who aid means it means to say, well, as long as you're an aid, you have to be an aid all the time. You have to be kosher. It's halacha nichatzuli aidus. There's no real connection between the two. It's got nothing to do with the ritva that I mentioned in Mem Gimel Amid Aleph and Kiddushin anymore. The whole thing's okay. We thought, look, if there's a halacha of 2 points, maybe there's a psul and everything between the 2 points. And the Kamash knows there's no psul. The psul is only in the 2 points. Okay. Can it work? It can work. Is that the stomach of the Gemara? No. What pushes him? Well, what pushes him is the Chayra. Once he takes for granted that Mekai Medavar, that there is no Torah Seid, there is no Torah Seid. So how can you possibly say there is no Torah Seid? And now it is no Torah Seid. So the Chayra, these questions are bothering him. There is no Torah Seid. So the Chayra and there's a Gemara that says you can be mistalik. So that's what's pushing him. Now let's understand. But where does he get it from the Vahu Eid? The only thing I came up with, possibility, is the first Rashi in Shavuos Haedus. What does Vahu Eid mean? What does Vahu Eid mean? Does it mean he's an aid, or does it mean he's an aid kosher, not a puzzle? So Rashi's the first Mishnah in Shavuos Haedus. It's based on a Tosefta there in Perik Beis. This drush is not really found in Bavli. Shavuos Eid, Daf Lamed Amud Aleph in Shavuos. Shavuos Eid, as the Mishnah says, Naeges ba'anoshim v'lei b'noshim, b'rechaikim v'lei b'kreivim, b'ksherim v'lei b'psulim. Anoshim v'lei b'noshim, we're trying to say that Isha is puzzle Eidus, and therefore she's not part. She's not there. If we're going to go with the tumor, it means she's not an aid, but obviously you have to be an aid, and she's not an aid. And here you're going to say, he is an aid, but he's an aid puzzle. Okay? Now, and then there's the idea of Ksherim, the Gemara says, goes up Ksherim Deraisa and puzzle Derabbanan. What happens if it's puzzle Derabbanan? Is also, in a kosher Deraisa and puzzle Derabbanan, is there a korban Shavuos Eidus? Can you say, I don't know Eidus, because I'd be potter, because Midrabbanan, I can't say Eidus anyway. So it's not really Eidus. So we say, no, Midaraisa, you are an Eid, and you lied. Practically, you couldn't say the Eidus because it's Pasal D'Rabbanan. That's a Papa, it's a Machlekes Rishaykus Rebechan in the beginning of the 10th paragraph of Yuma. It's a Gemara here by Nafkamina by Eidus Melech and Mesachei Pekuvia and Daf Lamed Beis. Learn it. Akitza. So what do we have here? What's the mucker? So the so there's no Mefurish Gemara which says here the mucker. Where is the Mishnah Vayter and Daf Lamed Hey that says Mashbiani Lechem? If I beswear you, im tavovi ta'iduni she'omer ish plain litnolim b'tayim zuz. So the Mishnah there says in the second widened out line, Omer l'shnayim mashbiani lechem ish pleni she'imatem yodim li edus she'tavovi ta'iduni shvui she'enon yodim l'chedus ve'im yodim le'edus ed v'pi ed or she'ech mem kar v'pasul. Harei el peturim. Okay, big machlekes are showing what the story there is. The Gemara says, how do we know it from? So the Gemara towards the middle of the Amid, right before the second Mishnah, it says, how do we know this from? So the Gemara, Tana Rabbana, Amar l'shnayim ashbana lechem plenty matam yedin litzoroi ve'iduni ve'em yedin le'edus edin pi'ed oy shel cover puzzle yochel yu chayavim Talmud lo me'im lo yagid v'nasa avoynoi b'ru'yim la'gada kosev v'daber. You don't have a God. It says, which aid? Who's the aid? Which aid is this? The aid that imlo yagid v'nasa avaynai. So now the Vahu aid means to say an aid which is roy la'agada. And since practically you're not roy la'agada, I look how you're an aid kosher. But since your agada is meaningless because you have in your group an aid pasul or a karav, mamela, it's no good. You're not pasul. The gavra is an aid. You may be an aid, but you're not an aid, which is roy la'agada. This is what the Gemara learns. So what do we see here? What does Vahu aid mean? Vahu aid does not mean that he has a Torah Edus. Because if the question is that he has a Torah Edus, so the Eidim that were Ksherim, that they said they don't have Edus, would be Chayiv Korban Shvuas Edus. They lied. They denied him the fact that they had Edus. They didn't have effective Edus because they have bad neighbors. They had a puzzle with them. But who said that we mismight from Vahu aid? So the Gemara has to come and say, no, don't think Vahu aid means just the Gavra. You're an aid. No, you're an aid, which imlo yagid v'nasa avaynai, that defines the Vahu aid. Which aid is this? An aid which is effective. If practically, at least biblically, he's not effective, he's not an aid. So the criteria for Shvuas Ha'edus is effectivity. And we don't care about anything else. That's the criteria. We're not looking if there's a Torah Edus or not Torah Edus. So you have a possibility, if a person which has no Torah Edus, which has Torah Edus, but he's not effective, also doesn't work. Why? Because that's how we define Vahu aid. How do I know that's the pshat? Maybe the pshat is Vahu aid means the gavra, and imla yagid is the effectivity. It's from for Rashi. I'm going back to Mamish, my first Shir Shvuas Ha'edus. That's Rashi and Shvuas Ha'edus, Daf Lamed Amud Aleph. Shvuas Ha'edus na'egis ba'anoshim v'lei b'noshim dichsiv Vahu aid b'roi lahoyid ha'kosev medaber. Diber HaKosev. Where's the mock of this great thing? Okay, so he quotes it Tosefta. The mice, it's the Bavli, this Bavli. Where's the Tosefta? So I'll read it to you. It's Perik Beis Vav, but you'll see already there that also thought in Daf Mechet Arabti. So the Tosefta and Shvuas and Perik Beis. There's a few Toseftas here. Anybody recalls? Yeah, this is a mistake. It's not Beis Vav. 1 minute. I don't see about Vav. Tosefta base Gimel. Yeah, that's better. What's the drasha in the Tosefta? Amashbias Agoy es Hanoshim v'Saktanim. This is our brisa. Also, Krivim, Psulim. We put a goy in there equals anybody of different reasons. Krivim is a puzzle. A goy kulam lo plige is nothing. There's no din in insecurating goy kolayis betela. No one's going to argue that. Another lashon. Our brother says aid roy la'agada. He uses the word sharei loitzi mamon. Okay, loitzi mamon, Reblazo, etc. That's the Gemara. So this is what Rashi is saying. But roy la'agada, roy lahoyid diber hakos. That's a lashon of the Gemara in Daf Lamed Hey. It doesn't say loitzi mamon. It says the roy la'agada. So Rashi, I think the source of Rashi may also be a Tosefta, but the idea behind it lies in the Bavli. So what do we know? We know from Medrash Halacha that the Imlo Yagid defines what Vahu aid is. And we don't differentiate between this is the the Gavra, this is the Te'elis. There's no such thing as the Gavra. It's the Te'elis. Vahu aid means Te'elis. Well, if that's the case, for goodness sakes, what are we talking about? We're going back. Where's the whole mucker of this din of Tchilas v'Sefer B'Kashrus? From this Parsha in the Torah. From the Parsha of Korban Shvuas Ha'edus, to the Parsha says Vahu aid, Oyra, Oyada, Im lo Yagid v'Nasa Avaynai. That's this is exactly what we're talking. And what does Medrash Halacha tell me? What does Vahu aid mean? It doesn't mean a Gavra. It means someone which is Te'elis. It means Tachlis, someone which is Te'elis. According to that, that's the pshat. So what do we try to say? You need the muta and aid puzzle. When you say aid a royal agada, you mean to say you have to be an aid which has Te'elis from you. But so there he comes and says, if that's the case, that's what I need. As much as you're an aid, you should have Te'elis. But Eina Chinami, in a case where you don't have Te'elis at all, that's not what would be a riot. That's how he understood the Gemara. Not that you need a Torah aid. You have to have an aidus sheyesh by Te'elis. So it's a halacha in the psulim. It's not a halacha in the Torah aidus, which is chal. It's a halacha in the psulim. If you're an aid puzzle, b'shasriya, that's not. You're not called an aid which has te'elis. And I need you to be royal te'elis. That's what aid means. Aid a royal agada. which means lemute pasul. Now he understands the lemute pasul, but not lemute balei din. He differentiates even according to that between, I would say, goy, isha, etc. He puts them all on the table. This is totally not the nesivus, it's not the tumah. He obviously works with the rival of Bekaime Dover. He does not extrapolate from that to these other things, as opposed to the tumim, which extrapolated from Bekaime Dover to therefore the rival only spoke about Balei Din. He included in that Memela also Isha, and then the deceivers included Cotton and Guy. But this is going to work, because if that's the case, where's the muck of this whole thinking? The only way you can understand the muck of this whole thinking of who aid means to say not Torus Aedis. It means Kashrus of Aedis, but the word of Kashrus of Aedis is put together in the Gemara to mean both Nashim and Rechai and Psulim. And Noshim and Ktanim are the same thing. So for goodness sakes, the best you can maybe do is talk about a Goy, which I'm not sure, but definitely not Noshim and Ktanim. So whatever it is, it comes according to Rav Blachman. If I understand the way you understand the Gemara and Erechim, the only way I can understand is based on the understanding of the Gemara of the prices and Shuas. That Vu'ay doesn't mean, is talking about not that you need a Torus Aedis, you need to be an aid which is kosher. Lafuka, an aid which is possible. That's what we're talking about. Lafuka, an aid, aid. What type of aid are you supposed to be? Roy Lagoda, as opposed to an aid which is not Roy Lagoda. What's an aid which is not Roy Lagoda? A and B. But if you're not an aid at all, there's no question. No one ever said that you have to have a connection between Riyah and Haggadah. That whole idea was based, if we understand, you need a Torus Aedis. That whole mahalach with the Ritva is going to need a Torus Aedis. So I understand it has to flow. No, this is Allah and Psulim. The passus of Aedis is found in two places. How about me? The passus of Aedis would be to some place A to place B, which I still don't have a good svara for. And the Kamashma is no, that's only in two places, but there's no reason to think of one for the other. They have to take the idea of Kavanah Lahoyed, the Bazundra Exeris Hakasu. Where's it come from? Lav dafka because of a svara, the way we explained it, because of the hechrich, as the Gemara says. If you're not going to say Kavanah Lahoyed by Psulim, Ma Yasu Shnei Achim Shero Sanesh Mishor Nefesh. We agreed that was the hechrich. What's the svara? I gave you a svara, all based on that writ from them Gimel Medalef. But once I have the Rabbi Lanil, which doesn't learn that way, everything has to be reviewed. I have really, in my view, this is a very revolutionary approach. Until now, I always thought it was a misread of a Rimigash. I know the Rishonim didn't have exactly what I have, and I'm not that nervous. But now I know it's not a misread of a Rimigash, it's based on Rosh Hashanah Arrival. It has a name to it. That's already something else. It's a different ballpark, okay? Now that I have that, I am forced to say that he also had to learn, until I remember we had this question, what are you going to do with the Gemara in Erechim? Okay, so I think it's a typo. I think it's a mistake. No, I can't say it anymore. He's got a name. Good family, good teacher, prolific brother, he's a somebody, okay? Can't just play games with him. He obviously have to review. Everything has to be undone. Okay, this is a clear machlekes between Shutish Sugya versus this Shita, which is there. Now, in light of this, we talk to see this, it's a machlekes Rishon. Now, if you go to your Ramban, now let's just review that again. You can understand this Shita is found in the Ramban. Beforehand, I thought it was a misread of the Rimigash. No, this is the same Shita, which is Talmidei Arayvit. Ramban asked the question in Daf Mem Gimel, V'amai l'salke beitrei minayev l'dayin. They're talking about the Pnei Ha'ir, which are mistalik from a Sefer Torah. I already pointed out that the Tosfos read and the Ramah right before that it's talking about Dayanis and not about Aedis. For Aedis, it's a concern of Chilasei v'Sefer B'Kashrus. They believe that Balei Din have a ksor and a Chilasei v'Sefer B'Kashrus. Okay, because you need a Torus Aedin, it's not there. He says. The kasher revuso bein tchilas v'sever bekashes afilu b'din imam. This is a Ramban in Daf Mem Gimel. Kidamucha v'pergesh Nochlin. He brings, and then he gives an answer without saying a name of who it is. V'nichalahu, them, whoever my teachers are, they asked this question. Now he's not a Talmud of the Rimigash. Let's be honest. Okay, just want to put it on the table. If you tell me the Rambam, he's a Talmud Talmidei of the Rimigash, okay? His father is a Talmud of the Rimigash. Revusa means the teachers. I don't know, the teachers can be anybody. And the teachers answered, The shining again, Be'edis Makus Mama Mishar Psulim. The Gabi Mama and Lay Mikrit Chilasa Bepasus, Kivin the Matali, I know Mine, Lav Bar Edis Uklau. Bahashta Udachon Alay Shem Aid. Beverly Trilasa Vesever Bekashris. Now Ushaita Lav Edu Cloud, the Ain Other Made La Atzmai. Vidamila Idam Rino, Settlers Marcus, Elamiata Reviatsum, Kaimadaver Kosum Daber. Han Lav Edim Hu, Avo Bipsul, Ake. Edim Sulim Mikra, Zet Tiritz Rabbi. Say, who's he talking about? This is a business Russia shall arrive. Who do we know it by name? That's Rabbi Sheva Meshula. If you have a Shittul Kubetzi Barabasa, look up the Shittul Kubetzi. You'll see the name of the Ravid. You'll see that's there too. But here it's clearer. That's it has a name. There you can dig there. Once you have it there, you're going to see it also in the Ravid. Okay, but that's a different portion. Where's it coming from? From a totally different approach. Itaka learns it differently. He doesn't say what. I got problems with this. Notice he doesn't have a pircha. Equals your read of the Gemara and Erechin is a viable read. If not, he would have said, "What are you talking about?" It's enough for the Gemara. Notice he doesn't have to agree with him, but he can't. Doesn't have a pircha on him. Equals you can read it that way. Yes, the datikov. It's not what I would do. He's being very nice. What did he finally answer? He answered something totally different. And he says, no, that's not the pshat. He doesn't, basically saying, there's a good pshat to say that I can't agree with you. Why is it? Because even a baldin is not enough. You have to have a Torah edus, even Mr. Tchilavat Seif. That's the shayla on the table. According to the Roman and O'Neill, you don't have to Torah edus. You can't have a paslas from Tchilavat Seif. But according to the Ramban, no, that's not pashut. What did he answer? He gives a totally different answer. And I'll tell you what he answers now, Bekitzer. He answered that basically, what's the psul? The psul is because, what are we talking about? Is the psul because you're talking about the same money or you're talking about your money? A baldin because you're talking about yourself. Your money and yourself, the same thing, you're talking about yourself. You can't be talking as a ben ayir, you're talking about you and everybody else, and also talking about yourself. If you're talking about yourself, it's puzzle. Why don't we say palgidin dibura? This is not the place to talk about. That's where the Ritva, because the Taisus Rid comes in, and the long Taisus Rid, Shabbos. If you would remember or know, Sanhedrin or Makis, I would party, but I don't think it's the place here. Okay? They all ask the question. The Taisus Rid I sent you to is a big arichas on that question. Okay? But the end of the day, he takes for granted that the halacha would be your puzzle for yourself and for the others. You're puzzled for everything because you're talking about yourself. It's simply going to be batla miktsasa, batla kula. Yeah, that's going to be the halacha. We're not going to say you believe for the others and not for yourself. No, it's one story, totally one story, and one story which can't be divided. You can't say it happened with somebody else. I'm here. If you're here, it's the same sefer is also here. I'm sorry, there's no plugin dibur. You can't divide things. If you can officially divide the story, then we can divide the ne'emanos. I once taught that. You can't divide the story, you can't divide the ne'emanos. You can't divide the story here. Who does it belong to? All of us. If that's the case, we say batla mitzasa, batla kula, and the edus is no good. So what's the problem? You could have said edus on them. There's no problem with edus on them. The only problem, you can't say edus on them because you're talking about yourself. But as soon as you walked away, now you're saying edus on that same mama, which you could have said edus on them. Elamai, then you had a problem because you're also saying edus on yourself. I'm not saying edus on myself anymore. As far as they're concerned, I was always good. The problem was only because I was also talking about myself. No, okay, so now you're not talking about yourself. So it's another pasha. So it says if that's the case, there's no problem of this. So his shita is that you need a Tyrus edus from beginning to end, the way we learned the Gemara Pshuta. Now, the fact of the matter is, this is mamish the Rimegash. We bought that at the time, I think I sent it to you, a Bala Iter, which quotes the Rimegash and says exactly that. Did I send it? I think I sent it. Read it carefully and show it to you. Should be. Yeah, I sent it at 10:48 in the morning. You go up a few, underlined a few. Pirush Rabbeinu Ibn Migash. Hani mili machmas kura v'gazlanusa de evla psula de gufa desade. The psula in you're no good. So we say if you're a puzzle in the beginning, you don't have a teres eight kosher in the beginning, you're no good. Avo heiche de leke psula de gufa. Ella mishum de matale hana. This almost sounds going like the Roman Lanil, but it finished yet. Kivan the istalik lemine kosher. Why? And here there are underlined words. The kivan, the salik nafshe, igla milsa lemafreya, the kosher mitchila v'atzayf. Once he walked away, we now know that you were always kosher from the beginning. So he didn't mean to say that people thought that he meant to say. Now I know it's not the Rishonim. The Rishonim didn't talk about the Rimigash. They bought a sheet there. We thought it was Rimigash. So I'm saying, no, it was Rav Milanil. I don't know that any of the Ramban was talking about the Rimigash. If you read the Rimigash carefully, it's read literally the way the Balei Yitzer learns it. He writes it before that on the Iker Ha'edus equals on the Edus dealing with the Ne'er, you were always kosher. That's what he writes there. Lashon of the Rimigash. Lashon of the Rimigash is that where he writes. Hashta the Solik Nafshei have a Iker Ha'edus Kilase v'Sefer B'Kashrus Mikra. What's Iker Ha'edus? The Edus on the is the Sefer Torah belong to the ear? It doesn't belong to the ear. Dealing with you is a separate story. Okay, so you're not there. This is the first. The Balei Yitzer read the Rimigash directly, and although the language of the Rimigash is nitan l'tos because he starts in a lashon which is mashma the Roman Lanil, but we see from the end clearly not that way. So here we have it. So now we have the names. We don't have to say that the Ramban had a misread the way I thought when I first thought in the Ches about it. He didn't misread. I don't know what he had. He didn't have the Rimigash that I have, and he misread or whatever he read. It was in Meduyak. Okay, I've seen that many times in Rishonim. Now I know it's something else. There was a teretz there out there where he has a name to it. Beis Midrash should arrive it, and that's all. And he disagrees with it. As far as the Rimigash, the Rimigash is what the Ramban writes. And that's Mamish in the Itzer Mefurish, that's what he understood, that's how he had the Rimigash. So there we have it. So it seems to be a very simple machlekes here between Beis Midrash shall arrive at the Roman Lanil that holds that what there's no din you have to have a Torah's Edus b'shas Riyah. It's simply, that whole halacha in the Gemara here in Kuf Chav Ches and the Gemara in Erechin is talking about dinik psulim. Not halacha in Shem Edus, so halacha in Paslus of Edus. It's a totally different sugya. And the whole dynamics have to be revamped, believe me, and it's much less attractive. Okay, much less misvara. It's the truth. Masha'en came, we understand according to the Pashas, according to Rav Blachman, that no, you need Torah's Edus, and this Baal Din Teretz is not a Teretz. And the only Eitzi here is because the moment is the same moment that the Ramban explains, that the Rimigash explains. You need a Torah's Edus, B'shas Riyah and B'shas Haggadah. That's a whole different ball game, and that's everything we explained based on the Ritva. Chasal. Thank you. It was a pleasure learning with you this semester. See you, whoever's going to be here next one. I will miss you all dearly, terribly. Yeah, we're learning Psachim. Be smart. Finish the first 15 blot until Tyrus. Excuse me, 11 blot. Gemara Rashi. Rush. Where Rashi Rush? Finished 12 blot Gemara. It's not much, for goodness sakes. You have now a month, more than a month. And whatever. 12 blot Gemara. You can be a apostle Edus, so you can be a fly, and you can finish 12 blot Gemara in a month. Especially now you're not going anywhere. So you're a captive audience to the Torah. So you can finish more. 12 blot Gemara is very easy, and learn all the psukim and all the mechiltas you can on chametz and matzah. A lot of that's going to be dealt with. Okay, that's for you people that are learning Psachim. Have a great evening. Love you all. Bye, guys. Okay. I will.